I love talking about lenses, especially lenses with character. So when my friend Chloe from Lomography hit me up asking me to test out their brand new Joseph Petzval 35mm f2 focus coupled bokeh control art lens, I was like, wow, that's a long name. And as always, this video is not sponsored by Lomography in any way. They aren't seeing this video. They just sent me the prototype to test out, to get my thoughts, to see some footage that I could make with it. Yeah, all that fun stuff. You know how it goes. All right, let's talk about this thing. The lens is part of their Petzval series, which I've always loved. These lenses are all known for their swirly bokeh, that out of focus background element. And this one has focus coupled technology, which apparently eliminates focus shifts when adjusting bokeh levels. That sounds really cool, but there is a bit of a monkey in this scenario. And no, I know what you're thinking. You meant to say monkey wrench. No, I meant the entire primate. The lens Lomography sent me was a prototype, and it was in temporary housing, kind of like the villagers in my Minecraft realm. This prototype was in a strange vessel for Sony E-mount, and given the fact that this was a prototype, Lomography doesn't really want me to show you it too much, so you gotta use your imagination a little bit.
Wow. I can't believe you edited that out so well. I can't believe you can't see that.
Since it's in a prototype housing, it didn't exactly have all the glamorous features, you know, like a thread for ND filters or the focus coupling thing, because it didn't have an aperture control. I'm sure I can recover that in post.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes, that's correct. The lens was just stuck shooting wide open. I mean, hey, maybe the focus coupling situation was in there, but I wouldn't know since everything was at f2. So me, in my infinite wisdom, decided to do a portrait shoot and 2 music videos with this prototype lens. And the headline is, I am so thrilled with the results, but man, getting to that finish line was certainly a challenge. You could say it was like playing Doom Eternal on Nightmare mode. I guess I should be doing Dark Ages memes, but I don't know, now that the dust is settled, Eternal's clearly the better game. Dark Ages was fun, but Doom is eternal. I digress, but I'll explain the Nightmare mode stuff when we get there. For now, let's keep my Lomography testing tradition alive and meet up with my friend Kristen.
Okay.
We decided to work in Long Island City at night and test out 2 big things with this lens: swirly bokeh and the light gathering capability. At f2, this may not be the fastest lens I've ever shot with, but man does it get the job done. Backgrounds melt away into dreamy, swirly goodness. Of course, this is a full manual lens, and I gotta tell you, the only Sony I have handy now is my FX30, which is so not a photography camera. Since this chonker is so video focused, Sony was like, they don't need a viewfinder. Viewfinder hardly know her. So again, nightmare. This is a nightmare. I did this entire portrait shoot on the LCD screen, no viewfinder, like some sort of animal. At f2, you get majestic backgrounds, but the depth of field is really shallow. Getting that tack sharp focus on the eye can be very tricky. You can also focus this lens pretty close with a minimum focusing distance of 0.4 meters, which is about 1.3 feet. After the portrait session, I took this lens into production, and some of my precious little eggies might be starting to say, wait a second, this whole thing feels familiar. Well, if you saw my OM3 video, you sure are correct. I was testing the OM3 and this lens at the same time. So if you placed your bets earlier, expecting me to talk about shooting 2 music videos with my friend's band Conversing with Oceans, who recently released a banger EP, guess what? You just won! Let's fucking go! This Petzval was my primary lens for both of these music videos. Starting with the airy outdoor music video for No Stone, we had a really short time window. It was 3 hours to film this whole music video, and it was an absolute fucking nightmare to get an ND filter onto this lens that didn't have a filter thread, and I must emphasize, it's at f2 in broad daylight, so the ND filter was a requirement. And for anybody who might be new around here, an ND filter is basically sunglasses for your camera. So when I'm shooting in broad daylight and the aperture's all the way open, this is what it looks like. Why, yes, that was me dropping the ND filter.
Wait.
Some quick context here, I had just said I was born ready and then immediately said, wait, I'm born ready. Fucking wait. So yeah, we're gonna need that ND filter. And with that in mind, I did what any professional would have done in that scenario. Hey, if it works, it's not stupid. Yes, hello, Shitty Rigs, I'm your new God Emperor. Just kidding, in the grand scheme of Shitty Rigs, I would probably, like, barely be a senator. Some sort of local representative. Anyway, one of my favorite things was dirtying the foreground when I was using this lens, particularly this shot here through the chain link fence. It just gave such a nice texture. Using this lens for video is a dream. The focus throw rocks, the ability to use a follow focus I imagine would have been awesome.
If I had one!
There is a muscle memory to focusing. Something just clicked with me when I was using this Petzval 35mm. It felt so natural to me, like instantly. And I obviously prefer lenses like this that have the long focus throw as opposed to a fly-by-wire focusing system. And I think this is a very video-centric lens. Yeah, you can do photography with it, but it just feels more tailored to video. The biggest challenge I had coming out of this music video was matching the look coming out of my FX30 with this lens and the more digital look of the OM3. I think I got the colors pretty close, but there's no denying the difference in the look from this lens versus the more optically perfect clinical digital look of the OM3 and that lens. No disrespect to the OM3, I did enjoy my time with that camera, but I certainly didn't do editor Lou any favors by shooting on two radically different cameras, different color profiles, and very different lenses. But hey, do I ever make things easy for myself?
No.
This lens really shined on the Tokyo music video shoot as well. The vision for this music video was a lot of chaotic motion, that step printing sort of look, so really slow shutter speed, really wobbly, streaky lights, all that fun stuff. So this music video isn't exactly the best example of what this lens can do to your background blur. There's a few shots in there that kind of demonstrate it though. Since we were working off just street lights and the small rig gobo flashlight thing, not sponsored but I really like that thing, having the f2 really helped just expose the video. Almost all the footage in this music video is coming from the Lomo Petzval 35mm with some of Suray's 50mm anamorphic thrown into the mix. I think you can probably tell which one is which. And of course this video isn't sponsored by Suray either. In fact, I reached out to them and they just completely ignored me, so yeah. You can also watch me eat shit during this production. Don't worry, Lomography, the prototype did not hit the ground. The only thing that hit the ground was my body. I also used the Petzval 35mm at one of my other friends' band shows. That's right, we got some more Duryea.
Daring today, aren't we?
This footage definitely would have benefited from having just a little bit more light in the venue, but hey, I still really dig what I got. If you can't tell, I really like this lens. I really enjoyed using it. So what is the problem? I'm sure some of you are saying that. I always have a problem with everything I talk about on this channel, and I think the price tag might make some of you say,
"That's too much, man."
If you buy just this lens, I mean not this one, not this prototype. I don't think they're selling this, but you know, they could give it to me and I would keep using it for sure. But if you buy just this one, just the 35mm Petzval, is $599. And if you buy the bundle of the 3 Petzval lenses, it's $1,548. That's a lot of money. But to be fair, it is a cinema lens, and the experience I have with all the other Petzval lenses I've used in the past has been very positive. They're super high quality, beautiful lenses. But it's definitely not gonna be flying off the shelves at this price, and it's not gonna be in everybody's price range. I have tons of experience with Rokinon Cine lenses. Those lenses rock. They're beautiful, they're incredibly sharp. But in my experience, Lomo's Petzval lenses have always just felt a little better to me. The images the Lomo lenses produce are just a little bit less digitally sharp, if that makes sense. They have a lot more character, and most important to me, Lomography's lenses have a much higher build quality than Rokinon. Rokinon's lenses are very affordable cinema lenses. They have the follow focus gear, all that fun stuff, but they have a ton of plastic elements to them. Not saying this is a common issue for me, but 1 or 2 good drops, again, allegedly, I never, I would never drop a lens. But 1 or 2 good drops will take a Rokinon lens out of commission, and that's because of how much plastic is in the lens. These Lomo Petzval lenses are solid aluminum or whatever the fuck metal they're made out of. The point is, they're not plastic. They're definitely a little bit more premium. It also looks like this lens has the same rear drop-in aperture plate system that the Nor has. The prototype obviously didn't have this, but basically all you do is unscrew this back piece and drop whatever aperture plate in, and presto, unique bokeh. It's very fun to play with, but definitely not as fun to unscrew. Overall, if you can, you gotta try out this lens. I loved it, and I'm very tempted to go buy one right now, but I do have a lot of lenses, so I don't know if it's happening today. But I love this lens. I'm so thrilled with the results. shots. Big shout out to Chloe for hooking me up with this prototype despite it being a nightmare. I loved what I made with the footage. Big shout out to Conversing with Oceans and Duryea. Those are my boys. Go check them out after this. And of course, a big thank you to Kristen and Wes for always being down to help me make these YouTube videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. I have a weird one coming up after this. All right, bye-bye.
Like and subscribe. Sweet Loop Photography. Dumb